Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talk to Experts Tuesday. We are so thrilled to have all of you here with us today. My name is Jamie Gregory, and I will be your moderator for this session. This webinar series is designed to give all of you an hour with a few of our product experts. You can use this time to ask them questions, and it also gives you an opportunity to get to know everyone. So we do have a few housekeeping items for today. Everyone is on mute, so please use the Q&A panel below to ask your questions. We won't necessarily be using the panel to respond to your questions, as we are going to try to get to everyone's questions live today. If we don't get to your question, or if it's something that may take some time to research, it will be in the Click community along with the recording, and I will show everyone where that is a little bit later during the session. If you hopped on to get your question answered and then you have to leave, that's totally fine. You should receive a prompt for a survey. Please take the time to fill that out. It takes less than a minute, and it just gives us a little bit of feedback on the session. And it also gives you an opportunity to give shout outs to our amazing panelists for the day. You can also provide suggestions for upcoming sessions. We've had some great suggestions in the past, like security rules within ClickSense, using multiple Click products together, scalability testing. Really, the sky is the limit. So let us know what you would like a session on, so hopefully we can facilitate that. If you do not receive a prompt for the survey, you can email us your feedback at digital@click.com, and I'll make sure to put that email in the chat for you a little bit later. So please keep in mind that even though some of our panelists are within Click support, we will not be able to answer any questions regarding a specific open case. And again, we ask that you keep the questions related to the topic at hand, which for today is API integrations. So this is a new topic for us, so we'll see how things go today. And again, use the Q&A panel, please. It's at the bottom to get your questions in. You can use the chat just for general comments or anything like that. But if you have a question for our panelists, please try to use the Q&A panel. It's just a little bit easier for us to manage those. So while we wait for your questions to come in, I'll go ahead and introduce everyone with me today. I have Joseph Musakura, Technical Support Engineer, Francisco Fernandez, Technical Support Engineer, Damian Villaret, Senior Technical Support Engineer, Rocco Pecora, Technical Product Marketing Manager, Deepankar Mazumdar, R&D Developer Advocate, and Jeffrey Goldberg, Senior Product Manager. Welcome, everyone. Joseph, can you go ahead and introduce yourself, please?
Sorry, I was fighting to mute myself, so I was muted. So my name is Joseph Musakura. I started in Click as a technical engineer in 2012, which means 9 years.
Oh, wow.
I mostly work with the front end. I mean, ClickSense, ClickView, and printing, GeoAnalytic, and now I'm specializing in API integration.
Oh, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Francisco.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Francisco Fernandez, as Jamie said, and I've been working at Click since 2019. I'm a SME connector specialist, and I also work on integration cases, so mostly front end. And yeah, that's it.
Great. Thank you, Francisco. And Damian.
Hi, everyone. I'm Damian. I'm based in Lund in Sweden. I've been with Click for 8 years now. And my main focus is API and authentication. And that's it.
Perfect. Thank you, Damian. Rocco.
Hi, everybody. So I'm a technical product marketing manager. Was in the Click consulting ecosystem for about 7 years prior to joining. I've been at Click for just about almost 6 months now. So thank you for having me and hoping to meet everybody.
Great. Thank you, Rocco. Deepankar.
Hi, everyone. I'm Deepankar. I'm part of the R&D team and mainly focused on developer advocacy. I kind of represent developers' interests with APIs and stuff. I have been with Click in this new role for like 6 months now, but I have been associated with the Click for around 2.5 years in the past, and I'm very happy to be here.
Great, thank you. And last but not least, Jeffrey.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Jeff Goldberg. I'm a product manager here at Click. My Click history goes back 11 years now. I started using Click with ClickView 10 and ClickView 9 as an OEM partner. I joined the company in 2013 and worked in pre-sales. And then in 2017, I took a little break and worked for another company in the low-code app dev space. And I came back in January of 2020 to become product manager of the integration platform. And I focus on APIs, our new application automation platform, OEM, embedded analytics, pretty much anything that has to do with developer topics. And I'm thrilled to be here working alongside everyone on this call to answer questions and just chat about this kind of stuff. So thanks for having me.
Great, thank you. All right, everyone. Again, my name is Jamie Gregory. I am the Community Operations Manager here at Click. I am in Raleigh, North Carolina, and have been with Click for over 3.5 years now. So right now, my primary focus is administering the back end of Click Community. All right, which you guys are all probably familiar with, but we'll show you that a little bit later. Let's go ahead and just jump right into the questions. So the first question is, why is there not any documentation on the QIX or data files APIs or KICS?
Ooh, KICS data files. Everyone's favorite API that we don't currently have. So KICS data files, just for background for everyone who knows, is an API for uploading CSV files, QVD files, and other assorted data type files into the Click Cloud Services platform. The reason why there's no documentation for it right now is it is currently a private API. And what a private API means in the world of Click doesn't necessarily mean that you can't access it, but it does mean that without documentation like capital D documentation that you would see in form of API reference, that the API and its use is unsupported other than the ways that Click offers it. So if you're using Click Data Transfer, that uses KICS data files. If you're using some of the other solutions that we have that are built into the cloud services platform, you may be using KICS data files. It doesn't stop you from using the API, but if you contacted support and said, I'm having a problem with KICS data files, you wouldn't be able to get support on it. To answer the question, making KICS data files a public and stable API so that there would be documentation, and so from an API perspective, you can get support from it, is something that is currently on our roadmap. As a product manager, I don't normally talk about dates, but in terms of timeframes, the time frame now is more of like a short to medium term at this point. There's been a lot of work that's gone into hardening that API and making it something that will scale across all of our tenants and for the use cases that a lot of our customers want to take advantage of it for.
Perfect. That was great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I should add, I
should
add one thing. When it does become public and stable, you'll be able to learn about it from the click.dev changelog, which is our developer portal, as well as the API reference will become available on that site. So,
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Very helpful. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
All right. So next question, how do I access the Dev Hub and ClickSense SaaS?
Okay, I'll answer this question as well. You don't, because there is no Dev Hub in ClickSense SaaS. So one of the things, and actually this presents a perfect segue, Jamie, for where you might actually want to give me control of the screen.
Sure.
So the Dev Hub is in the client managed platform. And when it was built with the purpose to help Click developers graduate or upskill into becoming web developers. And that's been really great. We've had a lot of people who have learned how to write JavaScript. They've been able to build mashups. It's a wonderful tool. The challenge with having a tool like that in the platform is that it does take a lot to maintain. And the framework that the Dev Hub is currently based upon is based on something called AngularJS. And so AngularJS is an old library or an old framework. It's about 10 or 11 years old. It's actually on the cusp of being deprecated completely, where community support will continue on. And so moving it into our cloud environment presents some challenges because our cloud environment is based on a new framework. It's based on React. And what I've been trying to investigate from a product management perspective is how can we deliver a DevHub type experience, but give you a great deal more capability that you can actually take something that you build and truly deploy it in like as few clicks as possible. Because one of the challenges with the DevHub is that you would build something, you would then go ahead and have to copy that code, you'd have to move it somewhere, you'd have to set up all sorts of authentication. Chances are it would generate a community post, or it would generate a support ticket, and then you'd be like, okay, and then you'd be playing the waiting game, trying to get things to work. Well, what I'm looking at as an alternative are, and this is purely because of the cloud, and I don't know, do you see, you should see a window that says Code Sandbox. Do you see that right now?
Yes.
Perfect. So you should see on the right-hand side here, a mashup, and then on the left-hand side here, some code when this page refreshes. And we have a couple of different things that we're looking at. First, we're looking at Code Sandbox, and what Code Sandbox is it's a place where you can go and actually start to type in code, and as you type in that code, it actually starts to render it on another part of the screen. So in this case, I have an example where I'm using Nebula.js to embed a couple of visualizations, and the code that I'm using to support that is over here on the left. So I have an index.js file that I've created that goes through and builds out all of the logic for working with Nebula. And then I'm basically running it in the backend using an Express server. So Express is a module that you use for essentially hosting websites when you're using Node.js. And there's the capability for me to work with themes and do a bunch of different things. And right away, as soon as I build this or write this code, if the code works properly and doesn't have any errors, it will go ahead and render the result on the right-hand side. Now, this is great because I can go ahead and I can share this out to my team. I can share it out to anyone just by giving them a link, and we can add this link to the post of the video when this when we're done with this webinar today. And you'll be able to go and you'll be able to look at this code. You'll be able to fork this code on GitHub if you want. And so when I think about what we would do for a future DevHub, there's so much better that's available on the internet today that we can use for free or with very low cost, be able to provide you with a mechanism that you can actually work with this code and start to deploy it. It's a no-brainer. And so what I want to do is I want to build relationships with these vendors so that we can make it easy for you to integrate your solutions across SaaS into these different tools. Another tool that we're looking at that I particularly like is glitch.com. Glitch is really nice. It's very similar to Code Sandbox, but what Glitch does that's different is with Code Sandbox, you have to go ahead and do your own deployment. With Glitch, it can actually deploy it for you. And if you have a certificate, you can actually add a custom domain with your certificate and start to host your own project right through them. And for like $100 a year, you can set up about 5 different projects that will run 24/7 as production solutions. So one of the things I'm working on here, as you can see, is I'm working on a little glitch called ClickSense Get All Infos, because I'm interested in getting information related to apps, because I'm working on doing some research on how we can integrate version control into the platform. So I went out to Glitch this morning and I took the, whoops, that's not something I wanted to show yet, but I'll show it momentarily. I went out to the click.dev. Let me just go to click.dev like so. And I went to the tutorials and I went to making your first session app with Enigma.js. And I just copied this code right here, pasted it into a glitch. And now what I'm doing is I'm grabbing all infos information and some bookmark information. So if I drag this up and I just run this project like so, you'll see it will connect to my tenant and it will go ahead and it will grab all of this information related to an app. And now I can start to do more stuff. Like I could start to add version control capabilities and do a lot of things with it. And I can add more files if I want to build this out, and then I can share this. And what I can also do is if we go out to our Teams page, we're starting to build out a Teams page on Glitch where you can see recent projects and you can actually click on these and you can see what the results are. And then if you want, you can remix your own. And so it will spin up this code in your own sandbox. So you don't even have to type any more code. You can just get started immediately. So these are the different ways that we're thinking about accelerating, extending the platform and making it possible for you to use Click in the future as we can take it more advantage of the cloud.
That was really great, Jeffrey. Thank you so much. I think it was a great way for our clients to be able to use, if they're used to the Dev Hub, this is another alternative for them. I think that's really great that you're able to show them here on the call today.
Sure.
Great. Perfect. I know we get that question quite a bit too within support. So how do we access the Dev Hub and you can't? So that's a really great response now that our team can carry on as well.
Yep. And we're going to be putting more content out on Glitch that you can go ahead and share. And then we'll also put these into repositories up in our open source site. And we really are focusing a lot on enablement and making it easier for you to get started and work with the cloud APIs. And that is a key thing that Dipankar's been working on with Rocco, and they can talk a little bit about what they're working on. But this is just some of the ways that we can take advantage of the cloud and make it possible for our customers to get acceleration even faster than they did with the Dev Hub.
Great. Do you have anything to add, Dipankar?
Yeah, I think that's basically what Jeff has mentioned. So these sandboxes and the Glitch framework is what we are trying to bring it up so that we can help people get started at a basic level and like let them know the nitty-gritties that are required to like get started with developing these mashups or extensions that people have been trying to do with our APIs. So yeah, I think this is something that we are right now working on, and I think we are going to see more stuff on click.dev, which is our developer portal, and we're going to see a lot of traction in there. So I think that is some space like to look out for.
Perfect. Just to show everyone really quick, click.dev. This is what they're referring to.
Yes.
And I'll put that link in the chat for everybody. Perfect. Great. Thank you. All right, let's go to the next question. I have a container which holds different objects. Is there a way I can access the active object from inside a mashup JavaScript code?
Can you ask the question again?
So I have a container which holds different objects. Is there a way I can access the active object from inside the mashup with JavaScript code?
Okay. So you're using the container visualization, and inside of the container visualization, you want to be able to see whether or not you can render, I suppose, the active object. The way that I would identify whether or not I can do that, and I don't know, Dipankar, jump in and cut me off. Again, I have a tendency to talk a lot, but I don't know if that's something that you've done before or not.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily. I haven't really experimented with that, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure like of that possibility.
So I'm gonna create a container real quick, and I'm gonna drop some charts in it. and we're gonna play. Do you mind if we play, Jamie?
Sure, go ahead. Do you want to share?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I got to share my screen again.
Okay.
All right. So one of the ways that you can identify some of this is you can go ahead, and in this case, I'm going to create this container that I have inside of an app, and then let me grab, I'll grab this, and then I will add another, and we'll add one more, right? Revenue by product. Okay, so now we have 3 different visualizations, and I'm going to say I'm done editing here, and then I'm going to go, and I'm using Chrome. So using Chrome, I have the dev tools, and what I'll do is I'll refresh this page, and by refreshing the page and being on network, I should be able to filter down and grab the WebSocket. And inside of the WebSocket call, there are these messages. And what these messages are is they are basically all of the requests and responses that are coming from Qlik as you're working with an app. And whether you're working in an app in the client, like you see on the screen here, or if you are doing a mashup, the WebSocket is a requirement, and that's how you connect. And so now what we can do is I can clear out the messages here. And if I choose expenses as % of sales, what you can see happened is we got a get object, and then we were able to return a generic object. We got a get layout, and then we got properties. So effectively what's happening is there's a selection that's basically this container is just referencing existing items, and the container itself knows what items are in it because it in of itself is an item. So if I go here back into edit mode, we can see we get properties of this object, and the response, if we look into this, and I'm sorry, this is a little small. I don't know if I can make this bigger or not. Oh, I can. You can see that inside of the Q prop of the container, there's a children, and inside of the children, you can see what is in there. But your question is, how do I know what's active? I don't see how you would be able to find out which one is active by experiencing from somebody's selection of the container and the client out into a mashup. Now, if you're in a mashup and you can actually run the container in that, basically what you would do is you would just do a get object, I suppose, on the container, and from there it's going to work. So let's just see. So chbprn. Oh, active tab. There we go. So there's an active tab property, and in this case, it's not rendering anything, but we should be able to look at that and find out what the active tab is. So if we come back up. Oh, and I need to shrink my screen. Oh, I need to shrink this screen. There we go. So what you could do is you could do a get properties on the container object, and that's going to, and then by doing that's the way that you would do it, is you would do a get object on the container, and then you would make your selection, you'd do a get object on the container, and you would look at what the active tab property response is in a get layout of the container. And that should tell you which one is active. That could be something that we could probably build a quick glitch on.
That's great. That was fun. A little troubleshooting on the fly here.
So the nice thing about a lot of these tools is that it is possible to see the code. And yeah, this isn't super easy, and let's be clear, it's not. It does have a learning curve to it, but as you work with it, you start to see where you can find more information. You get more accustomed to the different methods. And then again, Dipankar mentioned it, and I'll, we're not afraid to keep tooting our own horn about it, is click.dev being the one-stop shop for API reference. One of the things that's nice is you can, if you want to learn more about the get object method, you can go ahead and go into get object, and you can see what the get object method looks like when you're communicating with the engine. And then there's also a code snippet here, and there's a new button that's been added where you can actually just copy the snippet, so you don't have to highlight. So there's no risk of you missing a close parens or something like that. And by doing the copy, you can just go ahead and paste it just like that, and you can start to work with it. So that's a nice handy dandy add to click.dev.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Jeffrey. That was fantastic. I
Sure.
hope that helps that person. And again, this video will be posted in the Click community. I think this time we're going to switch it up a little bit, and we're going to just do, we're going to post the video with the time breakouts for the questions as they're asked. So then you can just click on the time and go to the answer of that question instead of doing an FAQ. If anyone that's on the call, any of our attendees have an opinion about, whether or not they prefer the FAQ over just a video that you can click on and it takes you right to that time for that question, just let me know in the chat. I'm happy to take all feedback on that. I'll go ahead and just share really quick where everything will be. You see the PowerPoint, correct? Yes, okay,
Yes.
Thank you. Let me just move everything over. Sometimes with the toolbars in the Zoom, it just goes on top of everything. It's hard to find everything. All right, so here we are. We're out on the Click community. So everything will be posted under here, under support, and then programs, Talk to Experts Tuesday. So we'll have under past events here. You'll see our previous sessions as well. This is a good one, I think, that shows the breakout of the questions with the timestamp. So you just click on the time and then it'll start playing the video at that time. Otherwise, in the past, we've done the FAQ. That it's an article that lives out in out here under support knowledge base. So let me know in the chat what everyone prefers. If you have any questions, make sure you get them in using the Q&A panel. So again, all of our experts are on the call here for you. Just something else to think about. Another favorite place of all product managers is the ideation. So out here, you can make your voice heard on what it is that you're looking for, whether it's API related or any of our other products. You can go here and search ideation first before you suggest an idea. And then if it's not there, you can go ahead and add the idea in. Our product managers do live out here. They are communicating throughout the life cycle of the idea. So even if you just, honestly, if you want to ask, is this coming, they're pretty responsive out here. We also have roadmap sessions. I don't know when the next one is. I'll have to ask Sue and get back to everyone on that. But here under the events and webinars, we just had one on June 3rd for the QDA side of the house. So I don't know when the next one will be. I know they're on a quarterly basis, but keep an eye out for those events. They are with the product managers as well, and they review the roadmap for different products within Click. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it for my little spiel. We'll go ahead and continue with the questions. Again, use the Q&A panel to get your questions in. We do have our experts on hand for you. So let's see, next question. Gotta move my toolbars again. All right, so what are the potential benefits of using the Nebula.js and Enigma.js frameworks for extension and mashup development. How do we get started? That's a great question.
I can take, and probably Jeff can also add to it. And yeah.
Okay,
Oh no,
sounds
this
good.
one's all you, Dipankar.
Yeah, so Nebula and Enigma is something like really I've been working on from a couple of months. And I think what I've been trying to do is also enable our customers and the developer community about this two modern frameworks that we have. So to just segregate things, basically Nebula framework is kind of into developing your own extensions or embedding mashups and new visualizations and stuff. So it kind of really separates. It's kind of a software development kit that we are providing it to our developer community who can use it for integrating this visualization on top of our Kix engine. So one typical example can be creating a visualization extension, like I mentioned, with probably integration of D3JS or HighChart or any charts, those kind of third-party integration of visualization charts. Enigma kind of is a library that interacts with the Kix engine, and it's a direct interaction with the Kix engine. And common uses that we have done here in with our use cases is like developing your own analytical solutions, probably developing your own Node.js service, having your own own services to do things with the repository service or like the engine, and creating hypercubes, listing the objects, those kind of typical user scenarios that we have seen with Enigma framework. So these are kind of a clear separation between the two frameworks. Nebula kind of deals with this front-end visualization and mashups, and Enigma goes and talks with the Kix engine. So if we talk about how to get started with these frameworks, I think, like I've been telling, click.dev is like, it's where everything goes into. We have basic tutorials that deals with how to get started with building your own extension or a mashup with Nebula.js. And those are like pretty delve into the steps, right away into the steps, easy to get started. We are also going to share this glitch and the code sandbox sandboxes that we have. So I think that is something that can also accelerate the development for the developer community. The third thing that I've been working on is basically migration of the extension or the mashups that we currently have. So right now, what the developer community basically relies on with APIs and our visualization and mashups is the capability APIs that have been like predominant for quite some time. However, we are making sure that the new frameworks that we have in line, the Nebula and the Enigma framework, they kind of are easy to get started, even when we have a already developed extension or a mashup. So how do we move from an already developed extension to this new framework, which was already done in the capability API, and now we want to experiment with the Nebula.js framework? So those are the things I have been working on. I have also a couple of community links that I have written. I can share it with Jamie, and probably you can just share it with the community. And we are also going to push a lot of stuff, like I said, in click.dev, and they're going to be like tutorials, and that kind of helps developer to move their current extensions or mashup to the new frameworks. So these should be pretty good to get started with these new frameworks. I think click.dev is a good place. We have a couple of good articles in Click, the design blog as well. When we talk about the benefits, I'm going to end with the benefits. Nebula.js and Enigma.js are kind of these modern frameworks. And when I say modern, I guess what I kind of focus on is this modular way of programming. I think what we are trying to do here is separate these different paradigms that we have. For example, the data structures, or the backend JavaScript code, or the skeleton of the mashup, which is like the HTML part. So what we are trying to do here is kind of bring in the modular way of programming. We kind of separate this thing. It's easier for developer to pace up and adapt to these new things, because you have this separations pretty easy. So whenever, for example, if you have an error on the codebase side of the JavaScript, you will probably have to just look into that particular code. Or if you have an issue with just the CSS framework, which is your styling sheet, you can just look at the styling sheet. So this is a modular way of programming, and it provides great flexibility. I mean, talking from my own experience, when I moved from I was doing something in capability API, and then I moved to Nebula framework, it was really flexible for me to as a developer to get started as well, because they were kind of very flexible and agile. Secondly, the thing which I like about the Nebula framework specifically is that it comes with a local development server. So you visualize as you code. So right now, what we do with the extension is it's kind of a black box thing. We develop the extension and we try to bundle it up as a zip code, zip file, and then put it in our Clixen server and deploy it. But then what we are trying to do here is give a local development server So when you run since it's a Node.js project, what we can do is we can spin up the project and we can see the output as we code. So that is pretty helpful as a developer. Also, we are getting rid of this dependencies, which are like Angular framework, like the old Google framework. That we're getting rid of this, and it's more of a modern framework in that perspective as well. And the fourth important thing would be like there are like Node.js based projects. So npm is a big package manager like that is owned by Google. So what we can do is we can easily bundle up an extension as an npm package and distribute it to the entire community of the npm. So that kind of gives a flexibility for a developer, because sharing a code is also very important from a developer perspective. And I think that kind of is what we are aligning to and bringing these all modern frameworks. I think I'll just end with that. That's pretty much a lot of information probably, but I would highly suggest click.dev and community design blogs as a starting place for developers to get started.
Great. Yeah, thank you. No problem. So whatever links you want to share, Deepankar, just send them over to me, and I'll put them. I'll post them along with the video so that everyone has access to them. That was really great. I think that's really exciting for developers out there. It sounds really awesome. So again, if anyone has any questions, that was kind of our last question that we had. So if anyone has any questions, use the Q&A panel to get your question in. Again, we still have quite a bit of time left. And I believe you had some things you wanted to share, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I have one more thing,
Okay.
which is kind of a preview item. One of the things that we've been looking at doing is providing a developer instance of the SaaS platform for developers to be able to go ahead and have a tenant of their own that they can experiment and troubleshoot and work with the Qlik APIs on. That doesn't impact their own, potentially their production tenant that they're using within their organization, or if they're a partner, their partner tenant. So this gives you kind of your own small sandbox that you can work on. And we've really been thinking about it in the way that Salesforce provides developer tenants, where you can essentially set up a developer tenant and get full access to the platform and work with the different features of the platform, so that you can extend it and work with it and that sort of thing. So to that end, if I can share my screen real quick.
Yep, sorry.
No worries. And I'll just pop up my glitch again. You're going to start seeing in the very near future the ability for you to go ahead and fill out a form that looks very similar to this. And in what you'll be able to do is, we currently have a limited number of tenants that we're offering because we're piloting this, but the idea is to provide the same sort of functionality that you get, or experience that you get from developer.salesforce.com, get that with Qlik Cloud Services. So this would give you a Qlik Cloud Services instance. It would give you access to a Qlik Sense SaaS tenant. When the automation capabilities that are coming online later this year come online, you'd gain access to that, and you'd be able to work with the automation platform within QCS as well, so that you can go ahead and build out and provide in your own sandbox the experience that you want to deliver, and then be able to just change a couple of lines of code that represent different tenants and that sort of thing, and start working on your solutions. So this is something that we just started to pilot in the last week. And if you're interested, we'll post the link in the chat. And not everybody's getting a tenant at first, but what we'll do is we'll be reviewing the submissions, and we'll be handing out tenants over the next couple of months in more of a trial fashion. And then we expect to go broader in the near future. So very exciting time.
Yeah, that is very exciting. And everyone, you heard it here first. If anyone asks, Talk to Experts Tuesday. That's where you find stuff out. Thank you for sharing that, Jeffrey. That's amazing. If you want to put the link in the chat, go ahead, or I can post it in there if you send it over. I don't know if you want that posted with the recording. If you want it posted with the recording, we'll make sure to put it out there. It's up to you.
So what you're going to see, and I'm not sharing my screen, but in the coming days, if you go to developer.qlik.com, so I'll post I'll post the developer.qlik.com webpage. There will be a there'll be a button that will go up on the upper right-hand
Okay.
side that will have a sign-up link as well as a login button that will take you to the login for Qlik Cloud Services, so you can log
Perfect.
into your tenant.
That's amazing. That is really awesome to hear. All right, very cool. Okay, so if there aren't any more questions, just a couple announcements, I guess, maybe only one really. June 29th is our next session. It is on QlikSense Enterprise. That's just QlikSense Enterprise Client Managed. I guess I should really just ask really quick, does anyone else have anything to add? Okay, no problem. Just wanted to give everyone the opportunity if they had anything else they wanted
I
to
think
talk
Jeffrey
about.
already answered everything.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, so next session is June 29th, QlikSense Enterprise Client Managed. So that's, on Windows. The QR code, I can go back to it again. If you want to sign up right now, there is the link. All of the upcoming sessions will be posted out here on the community under support programs, Talk to Experts Tuesday. We're still working on the schedule for the second half. We should have that up pretty soon, but here you do have the next session under upcoming events. Keep an eye on that. Again, we do post about webinars that are upcoming each month on the Qlik Support Updates blog. If you're unfamiliar with that, that's here under support updates blog, written by Qlik Support, just to give you announcements. Jeffrey, he actually blogs sometimes out there. I think you have one coming out shortly here. So we do have like guest bloggers and everything, but you can get information about what's happening within Qlik Support, policy updates, Techspert Thursday, webinar schedules, and then of course QlikPatch Wednesday and any of our product releases out here on the Qlik Support Updates blog. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to that. We used to do kind of like a daily blog. Now we've scaled it back quite a bit, so you'll just get kind of more of the important stuff that's happening within Qlik Support. If there aren't any more questions, we can go ahead and end this session. Thank you everyone for joining today. That was a really great session. Thank you everyone that shared today. Again, thank you Jeffrey, Dipankar, Rocco, Francisco, Damien, and Joseph. Amazing job. Again, everyone will get a survey. If you can just take a minute to fill that out. Give a shout out to our amazing panelists for a well-deserved job. We would appreciate it. Any feedback, just let us know. Again, thank you again, and we will see you in a couple weeks. Bye, everyone. Have a
Bye,
great
everyone.
day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much, Jimmy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.